Public key encryption, public key encryption structure, public application for public key crypto systems, requirement for public key cryptography, and it's a key important about asymmetric and asymmetric encryption algorithms. Yes. Public key encryption structure, public and private key, a pair of keys. We have two types of key, public and private key, that are a pair of keys that have been selected. So if one is used for encryption, the other is used for decryption. We don't, as an asymmetric algorithm, we don't use public for encryption and decryption as well, or private key for both of them. If at one side use public key, and the other side we must use a private key. Is key important thing in asymmetric. The steps of creating and using public key. Each user generates a pair of keys. Each user have private key and public key. Okay, to use it for encryption and decryption messages. Each user places one of the two key. Each user places one of the two keys in a public register or other accessible file. This is the public key. The companion key is kept private. The private key is known only to its owner. Okay, each user should have to keep and to secure his private key. The user should have not sent his private key to others, but for transactions you could, and you have to send your public key to others in order to send your message and get your message. Any user example, Bob can do the following. For example, we have a user called Bob. If Bob wishes to send a private message to Alice, Bob encrypts the message using Alice's public key. The receiver, Alice is the receiver. Bob have to know the public key of Alice, not private key. Of course, when Alice receives the message, she decrypts it using her private key. The public key of the Alice used for sending the message from Bob, and the private key of her is used for decrypt. No other recipient can decrypt the message because only Alice know the private key. If Bob wishes to send a public message to all users, Bob encrypts the messages using his private key. In this way, he don't use the public key of others. He uses his private key because it's a public message. Anyone who knows the corresponding public key will then be able to decrypt the message. Public key cryptography. In this way, we have an illustrated sample. Now, if you see, providing confidentiality, sending private message. Bob wants to send a private message to allies. In this way, he used allies public key. Okay, allies public key, and send it to allies. It's of course is in a ciphertext version because it is being encrypted, and at the allies use his private key to decrypt the message. Of course, the can decrypt the message, and she gives a plain text. Okay, but when encrypted with its private key, and Bob want to send message to allies, send encrypted message, cryptography message to allies. Of course, the only Bob could encrypt the plain text with Bob's private key. He used his private key to encrypt the message and creating ciphertext and send it to the allies, and she used Bob's public key to decrypt the message and get the plain text output. Application for public key. There are many applications that use the public key. Digital signature. We use the public key to others sign the message digitally, sign the transaction digitally. Symmetric key distribution. It's another application of with the public key. Encryption of secret key.